And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Always a busy day. And of course, our final couple of shows of the week this week as we embark on Nashville, Tennessee next week, June the 5th. And of course, CMA Fest, June 6th to the 8th. Tune in right there on KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at HighTideCountry.net. But of course, a couple of shows get out of the gate to finish this week. And next week to start a lot of the interviews next week for CMA Fest 2024. Presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and the CadenGordonShow.com. Today's Best Country Mix is a big show coming up this Saturday night at the Crockett House Beer Garden in beautiful Fredericksburg, Texas. If you've never been there, man, that's wine country, and you got to go do it. This venue is off the strip there, just coming and going. You can get there. Wade Hayes and, of course, Mo Bandy, and our guest this afternoon leading us back and lead off for us, Jody Dominguez of the Stateline Band. Jody, how you doing, brother?
Good, Brad, for having me again. It's been a while since I got to talk to you. Thanks for having me, man.
I imagine so, since that, I'm going to say at least 2022, maybe last year when that Lonely album came out and we did a couple of these shows. Again, tickets, Full Circle Moments, LLC.com for more information out there. Doors at 6:30, show starts at 7:30. Well, let's talk about it right there, too, because I know that venue very well. I've been up there, been to Enchanted Rock. I love it up there for people like myself and my family who love to hike and just get outside and get outdoors. Great for bike riding. And that location being Crockett House Beer Garden for the summer concert series with Full Circle Moments, one of our proud sponsors here on the Backstage Pass, man. This has got to be exciting for you to get together with two, I'll say Hall of Famers, but two of the well-known guys that have been doing this since the 80s and 90s country days.
Absolutely, man. Merlene, I was fortunate enough to do a show with Mo last year, and his guys are just super fantastic. I mean, they were great with us, and love their music, love their show. And so when she asked me about doing this deal, I said, absolutely. And then on top of it, you get Wade Hayes, like you said, Hall of Famers. There's no doubt about that. I remember being in high school listening to On a Good Night and some of those good old Wade Hayes songs. And actually, that's how I met Merlene. Was we were covering On a Good Night one night, and she heard it, and then she had to come say hi to me, and that's how our relationship started, actually. So that's kind of a backstory to getting to finally get to play with a show with Wade Hayes, and looking forward to it. Fredericksburg, Texas, yes sir, on Saturday.
That's a beautiful time. Again, doors 6:30, show at 7:30 this coming Saturday night there too at the summer concert series. Full Circle Moments, LLC.com for tickets if you're in the area. Get out there. Great night of music there too. For you guys too, since we talked, I know the Lonely album has done real well for you guys. Walk us through, or that I should say that particular single. Walk us through. It feels like an album because the song's so good. Walk us through that single a little bit, Jody, and just how well that's done for you guys. That Lonely single, and of course, just some goals and some things you guys have looking forward to for the rest of 2024.
Yeah, man, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Lonely was actually the first song that I ever wrote on a piece of paper. I just sat down one night, had this idea, and wrote it down, stuffed it in my backpack with my computer, and the next night, I guess, I sat down and acoustically put it on the computer and sat on it for a little while. And so we were in the studio cutting Dance Hall Devil, and we had a little extra time, and I just started playing that song, and so we went ahead and started laying it down. But I couldn't believe the reaction we got out of that song, because again, it was the first one I ever wrote. I didn't know if it was any good or not, So that gave us another top 10 on the Texas charts, and thanks to guys like y'all and playing it and putting it out there for folks. But yeah, it opened up a lot of doors for us. It sent us to Nashville last year. We were nominated at the JMAs that was the traditional country song of the year. So to get to hear our name called across the Grand Ole Opry stage, and that was just, I was a winner right there, whether I won the award or not, and that was pretty cool. Got to take all my guys up there, and we had a couple of days there in Nashville. Never been, and I look forward to going back. But yeah, man, that just had a good run with that song, and sure just blown away by how much people really liked it.
That was a great song, and it really fit Texas country in that particular category, man, because we always know about just Texas red dirt music, whatever you want to call it. It just has that category of the ability to tell stories, as most songs do today too, because a lot of the artists who we have here on the program and the ones we're going to be talking to next week that are playing those stages in and around CMA Fest, it's amazing how many people are just, penning their own stuff right now, just taking it to ideas and whether it's personal experiences or fantasy or whatever, a little combination of both. Man, it's so cool to meet artists like yourself who authentically just come up with their own ideas and just take a chance, put out a song, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that was one thing that I was real proud of with Lonely. I had just gone through a divorce, and I looked around one night, and didn't have any of the kids with me, and because I was just really alone, and that's where the thought came from, was just sitting on my porch in Lano, Texas, and it just popped into my head, and right then I ran inside and wrote the lick. I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. And I grew up in a church, and the line that I say that God's always with me. I mean, that's something I really believe in my heart. So, yeah, that one came straight out of me and straight out of my head, and it was based on it came from a not a positive place in my life, but it turned out to be a positive thing because me and my ex get along great now, and everything's good there. So, yeah, it came out of me pretty deep. That surprised me because I'd never thought that I could do that. And once I did, it's like, man, I can't wait to get the next one out. So
walk me through a little bit of kind of how you got started. I mean, growing up, probably in and around music. A lot of people say, this was a family or God-given talent, or family was around this. But for the listeners, I mean, I know the story, but for listeners that don't know out there, New Mexico, Colorado, or new markets, Oklahoma, things like that don't know Jody Dominguez of the Stateline Band, walk me through just your kind of the career path, and when you were going to take this, you're like, this is a big decision for me to do music full time.
Sure. Yeah, I grew up out in West Texas, out in Midland, Odessa. Worked in the oil fields out there, and some people say I should probably still be doing that, but I had a guy call me one night, and he had this band I'd never heard of, the Stateline Band, and his lead singer was going to retire or quit, spend more time with family and stuff. So I went out for a go meet these guys and kind of do a little introduction. And I at that time I hadn't played guitar in a couple of years and hadn't really, I grew up in the church singing and stuff like that. And Mom had bought me a guitar when I was about 13 or 14. And I didn't mess with it for a couple of years. I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to play the instrument. I took piano lessons when I was younger, knew a little bit of that kind of stuff, but finally ended up picking it up, teaching myself what I could. And so anyway, that took me to doing a little interview with the Stateline Band. This was about 10 years ago. And I played a couple of little George Strait songs, and they said, man, if you want the gig, you can have it. And so I did. And it took a little while. We were playing real local there in West Texas, Midland, Odessa, Andrews out there. And then all of a sudden we started thinking about, actually recording some of our own stuff. And so it kind of took off from there. And yes, sir, I ended up leaving Midland 4, 5, 6 years ago, something like that. And, just been doing this full time, and just trying to get better, and got a great group of guys with us. And the guy that hired me back then, actually, he retired a couple of years ago. So I think I'm about the only member that was with us back in those days. So yeah, but the group of guys we got now is just phenomenal musicians. I've got guys that's been out with Asleep at the Wheel, Rich Trevino, and just a great bunch of people.
That's the cool thing, a little combination, a little sound for everybody out there too, and variety being the spice of life. And I love this one you got to collaborate with. I think you told this story here on the show, but again, for the new listeners out there too in the new markets, you mentioned this title earlier, the conversation we had, but the Dance Hall Devil, and I know it featured Benny MacArthur was on there with you, and I believe Hayden Patera was there with you too as well. Tell people about the story of this one, because I really enjoyed listening to this song when it came out back in 2021.
Yeah, Hayden is our band leader. He's our producer, fiddle player, guitar player, vocalist. He does a lot of different things. And we were going from a show from Austin out to Fort Stockton or Alpine or something like that. And so we had a lot of I-10 to look at that day. And we were talking about what song maybe we want to do next. And he remembered Benny. At this point, I'd never met Benny. Didn't ever think I'd ever get to meet a guy like that. It's been with George Strait for 40 something years, since the early 80s. And he texted him right then. He said, "You still have that Dance Hall Devil song that you played for me? Did anybody ever cut it?" And he said, "No." And so Benny sent it to him. We listened to it the whole way out west, and we ended up cutting it. So it was just going to be us on it originally. And I thought, man, it'd be really cool if Benny would because Benny's a great singer, obviously a great guitar player, but he's a great singer as well. And I asked Hayden, I said, "Do you think he'd come in and sing one of the verses with us?" And he asked him. And first time I met Benny was in the studio in Austin, Texas. He come walking in, and of course I'd seen him on TV all my life, and I'm in the vocal booth as he's walking by, and I'm singing his song, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I hope I'm not just tearing this song up or butchering it or anything like that." But he was gracious, as nice as he could be. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met in this business, and he still plays with us occasionally out on our live shows and stuff. And yeah, he actually gave me another idea for another song, so we should be working on that one here before too long.
I like that too. Well, again, the big show's coming up this Saturday night, Fredericksburg, Texas, the Crockett House Beer Garden, June the 1st. Doors at 6:30, and of course, show again 7:30. It's Jody Dominguez and the Stateline Band. Wade Hayes, Mo Bandy, the Hall of Famers out there too as well, doing their thing. Some good 90s Texas country out there, Texas country mixed with 90s country music out there, and a whole night of just that neo-traditional style of music that we all grew up on out there too. Tickets, Full Circle Moments, LLC.com. It's a summer concert series, one of many that Merlene Cox is going to do out there too as well. So check out her company. We'll have more after this break here with Jody Dominguez. And of course, don't forget, coming up today for about 5 o'clock or so, somewhere in there, we'll talk to Struggle Jennings here on the Backstage Pass, his new album coming out, El Camino, tomorrow, actually, 31st. His new music release Friday. So we'll talk to Struggle Jennings here on the program. A quick timeout for CMA Fest here. We'll be busy next week. That's why no shows Monday and Tuesday. Travel to Nashville on Wednesday of next week. 7 stages, including the Ascend Amphitheater and all the action at Nissan Stadium out there too. If you haven't got your tickets, I don't know what you've been waiting on. CMAFest.com, and of course out there too, the CMA Fest, the Connect app. Check out the lineups and schedules presented by these sponsors. More with Jody here on the Backstage Pass. Jody Dominguez of the Stateline Band. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
The Caden Gordon Show, today's best country mix, is a 2-hour show playing independent and mainstream country music you know and love. Be sure to check it out at thecadengordonshow.com for more information on the show.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And, of course, coming up today, again, Struggle Jennings, about 5 o'clock today. And then next week, no shows. So we're at CMA Fest the entire week there, Wednesday through Sunday. Backstage at the Grand Ole Opry coming up Sunday, June 9th for the event. Sunday Morning Country with our good friend Jonathan Bond, hosted by Brenda Lee out there. Backstage at the Opry used to say that. It's going to be exciting because you never know who's going to come sit down at that table. I can tell you there's a bunch of groups out there. William Lee Golden and the Goldens. Of course, William Lee Golden, the Oak Ridge Boys. The Isaacs, John Barry. Mackenzie Phipps, Brenda Lee, of course, and a whole lot more. Barbara Fairchild, Jonathan Bond. It's going to be a great, great event. Tickets at Opry Box Office. Check it out there, too. If you're in town, come see us and come say hello. Of course, the Music City Center will be there the 6th to the 8th, and a lot of cool things going on out there, too, as well, because your favorite artist just might be here on the Backstage Pass. KKTC, True Country, 99.9, and our friends over there at HighTideCountry.net, our syndicated station out there. Back here with Jody Dominguez on the program, the Stateline Band, getting ready for the big show this Saturday night with Full Circle Moments. Again, out there, too, one of our partners out there. Tickets, Full Circle Moments, LLC.com. It's Mo Bandy, Wade Hayes, Jody Dominguez of the Stateline Band in Fredericksburg, Texas at the Crockett House Beer Garden. Doors at 6:30. Show begins at 7:30. And, of course, out there, mission for Full Circle Moments, guys. If you've never been to a concert, she does a great job of putting it out there. They just offer a unique entertainment experience, music lovers, providing that live music entertainment that fosters faith, family, friends, and fun out there, too. Hey, I got to ask you about Full-Time Fool, because I love catchy country songs when it just comes down to it, too. And there's more that you guys have put out, including one called Time Clock, that I invite everybody to check out across all the streaming platforms. Give us the full rundown, Jody, of Full-Time Fool.
Full-Time Fool, that was a song written by Bobby Pounds. And he's wrote a bunch of great songs. And that was one out of a pool of about, I don't remember exactly, but 10, 15 songs that we had got sent to us. And that was one of, when I first heard it, I was like, that's a keeper. That's a country song. That's not rapping. It's not, this stuff that I don't recognize as country music anymore, hardly. And so we took it and we cut it and had a great time doing it. We shot the video out in San Angelo, Texas. And I've seen a lot of, comments and things that people have seen the video or listened to the song. And I love the reaction that we've got from it, that it's, actual country music, because that's really important to me and to us as a group that, we got to keep country alive. And that's one of those songs, we carry steel guitar and fiddle nearly everywhere we go. And that's also really important to us, to keep that sound, that traditional country sound alive. And Full Time Fool was one of those songs that just nailed it. It was a great, well-written song, and it incorporated the fiddle and steel just right. And, I mean, I think maybe I was the weakest link on that record, because the guys that play, the fiddle and the steels and the guitars, man, it was so good. So good when we cut it. So had a lot of fun with that one. That was our first top 5. And
I love it.
It was a lot of fun.
Not a surprise to see why, too. Good songs make for good hits out there and getting those charts too. Let's talk about Time Clock a little bit. This was before Full Time Fool was out there too, but Time Clock had a nice ring to it too, and great songwriting in that one. I love that song.
Time Clock was written by, and I appreciate that. Our old guitar player, one of our first, was Kurt O'Brien out in Midland, Texas, and he wrote that song. And that was the first time I'd ever been in the studio, was recording that one, and I was nervous. You got all these professional music people sitting there watching. Well, when you gonna start singing? You're not doing this right, or you got to do this better. And it's like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. And but the guys we work with down there in Austin they're all fantastic, and they kind of gave me a little bit more confidence. And because at first I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get through it, but Time Clock was a lot of fun because it came from one of our guys, and they trusted me with taking it in there and singing it. So, there's another one. I think that one made it up to number 19. First song we ever put to radio was a top 20, and Kurt O'Brien out there in West Texas wrote that one.
Some of the best music to come out of there too. I'm seeing this trend, Jody, too, just looking at the business as it is now. But man, you mentioned about people, the hunger to keep this 90s country sound around. And what I'm noticing is so much out there now of the Randall Kings and the Zach Tops and just all these great artists that are keeping it true to their roots and the things that they grew up on. How important is that to the industry? I know you guys have done that too with these selection of songs and your catalog and things like that, but I don't ever want to see that particular sound die, and I don't think it ever will. I think there's a reason it's making a comeback. Yeah,
I do too, and I believe that a lot. I think everything in life kind of comes in cycles. That something new comes along, and it may hang for a little bit, but the stuff that we always can rely on, music-wise anyway, I think it always finds a way to come back. George is putting out a new album here this year. I saw Randy Travis had a new song or album come out. I mean, that's
pretty amazing.
People want that kind of music. Nothing against the guys that are out there doing their own thing and putting a country music stamp on it. I don't remember growing up and ever having to worry about my mom finding one of my country CDs with a parental advisory sticker on it. Yeah. And so that's just not for me. It's not for us. And so, it's real important to all of us as a group to keep that sound alive. And, some of the stuff we do is a little bit more, modern. Just you want to keep the attention of everybody at a dance hall. But for the most part, when we kick a song off, I want it to kick you out of your seat, grab your wife, your girlfriend, or somebody you just met, and get on the dance floor to dance to. And I think about 100% of the songs that we take and play, they're going to make you do that. So we'll have a lot of those Saturday night there in Fredericksburg, and hopefully as that sound's going out the top of that venue, people will be, what is that? What are we doing? What is that? So traditional country, we're going to keep it we're not going to change. We're going to do it our way and keep that sound because it's just too important.
It is, no doubt about it too. And you got two of the best out there too, Hall of Famers, and guys that have been doing it for a long time, running up down the roads and playing every honky tonk out there. And Wade Hayes and Mo Bandy and yourself, it's going to be a great night of music. Wish I could be there. I'll be there in spirit, no doubt. But hey, the nephew had a graduation to do this coming Saturday night in San Antonio, Texas. So I got to go take care of the family too. And I was actually going to go. What's funny, we're going to do the weekend. Tomorrow was supposed to be Pam Tillis and Lori Morgan at the Golden Nugget tomorrow night, which was going to be coverage of that, and then come up there to see you guys in Fredericksburg to go out of town and see family. But I didn't realize that the same weekend of the graduation was going to be the same night of the concert. But hey, you know what though? Our job is to sell some tickets out there. Full Circle Moments LLC.com. Show begins at 7:30, doors at 6:30. Again, Jody Dominguez of the Stateline Band, and of course Mo Bandy and Wade Hayes out there at the Crockett House Beer Garden in Fredericksburg, Texas, part of the summer concert series with our friends over at Full Circle Moments. More ticket information out there, and get your tickets now because they're going fast. FullCircleMomentsLLC.com. We'll take a timeout for our CMA Fest sponsors in the CadenGordonShow.com, today's best country mix, and of course Bangtail Whiskey out there too. We'll be seeing our friends there next week there. 7 stages. Guys, it's packed. I can tell you my schedule's full. I can't add anything else. It's going to be nuts. The Music City Center. Inside the second floor of the Music City Center, Fanfare X. A lot of interviews coming up there next week, June 6th to the 8th. Don't forget the 9th. Sunday, we're backstage at the Grand Ole Opry, taking part of the 42nd annual Sunday morning country event hosted by our friend Brenda Lee out there too. Looking forward to that. And some more exciting news coming back after this timeout. We pay a tribute to our CMA Fest sponsors. Stay tuned. More to come with Jody Dominguez, the Stateline Band here. It is the Backstage Pass, hightidecountry.net, and our friends at KKTC True Country 99.9 and the Sports Guys podcast.com. Stay tuned.
The Caden Gordon Show is a 2-hour show playing the best in country music. So check it out at thecadengordonshow.com. Again, that is thecadengordonshow.com.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the Backstage Pass, again, that mission, Full Circle Moments out there, unique entertainment experience for music lovers, providing that live music entertainment, fostering faith, family, friends, and fun. The 4 F's out there, too. And you'll have that this coming Saturday night in the Crockett House Beer Garden up there in Fredericksburg, Texas. June the 1st, doors at 6:30, show begins at 7:30. And, of course, Mo Bandy, Wade Hayes, and our guest today, Jody Dominguez of the Stateline Band. I got a question for you, too. Again, tickets, FullCircleMomentsLLC.com. Were you a big Foghat fan growing up?
Foghat. I mean,
slow ride, take it easy.
Somewhat. I wouldn't say big.
All right, okay. Like I said, it's a good one out there too as well. I just want to make love to you, Fool for the City. There's a lot of cool things that are coming up, and those guys are still going. And we got Scott Holt of the band from Foghat coming up here in a couple of weeks on the.
Do you really? Wow! I didn't know they were still.
They're still going, brother.
Wow! I got to get out of
out there. They got a new Slow Ride live in concert album too that just came out. I believe it was toward the end of, or actually the beginning of April. It was April 5th, April 6th, somewhere in there. And that Slow Ride live in concert stuff is still out there. But yeah, Scott Holt will be here on the Backstage Pass coming up here in a couple of weeks. Yeah, Foghat, man, still doing their thing out there.
There's just so many. There's so many out there. It's like what you just said. That you just you kind of forget.
You do.
About, and until somebody slaps you upside the head with it, you're like, oh yeah. Which I love, man. I love it. That's great. Yeah. I need to check that out.
Yeah, he's coming up here in a couple of weeks. We'll announce the date over the next few weeks after CMA Fest and all that good stuff there. Just kind of a show tease. You know how that goes. We do it all the time in entertainment. That's
absolutely here. Yes, sir. Well, I got to say, Brandon, I love what you do, man. I love watching your interviews, and it's guys like you that get people like me and all the artists that you bring in and give us an opportunity to speak to the folks. I appreciate it, and I know everybody that comes on your show appreciates it, and I love the whole incorporating sports talk into it a little bit, and just I appreciate it, man.
You got it, brother. That's what we do here. Like I said, that's all a part of growth, and we appreciate you guys helping us grow out there too. It's a two-way street, no doubt. Speaking of sports, I'm not too high on this. I haven't been to a game this year, but man, I can't recall since 2016. I've not been excited over a Houston Astros baseball season. I just can't get into it right now for whatever reason. I think I've watched a couple of the opening series against the Yankees. Have not been to one for a home game, and usually that's unlike me because I'll have been to at least a couple by now. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to cry over spilled milk here or throw in the towel, but I don't see the fire in the gut and the belly of this team this year. I really don't.
I hadn't watched much of it, but I have been following it. The Rangers last year winning the World Series, and yeah, it seems like I think you're onto something there. Like they've just kind of, I don't know if it's complacent or if they're just not excited about it yet, or if something's just not right. I don't know. They still have Altuve, and I don't get it, but maybe they'll get that spark and get it in gear here for too long.
I know they're playing this afternoon with the Seattle Mariners, last game of that series. You don't want to fall to 7.5 games back out of first. Of course, that whole division's really just kind of outside of Seattle is right there hovering or under 500. So it's just either way. It's they got the lineup, the players. I mean, Verlander goes out and pitches his tail off last night. 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, 1 earned. It just offensively, they're very inconsistent this year too. I know they're sitting there like top 3 in batting average right now too. But man, it's not showing in the wins losses category. 24 and 32 and 6.5 back of the Mariners. It's still early, like I said, just past Memorial Day. But hey, we got plenty of baseball, and some people are saying, well, they sell at the trade deadline, which is coming up July 30th. We'll see if they trade Bregman or move some other pieces, because you got to, at some point, rebuilding becomes a part of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep that nucleus together, as we've seen in past years with Carlos Correa and, of course, George Springer, Garrett Cole, Dallas Keuchel, all these guys, Charlie Morton, they've left in some form or fashion in free agency and made other teams better, but it's hard to do. But I will say this, I love Jim Crane as the owner, and I think he's doing it the right way, Jody, not to sit there and overpay for players that he's not going to get that value out of when they sign a deal.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with you on that 100%. He seems like, I don't know the man, but he seems like he's been a great owner and brought a bunch of really talented people together and done some good things with it. But that ship may have sailed by now, and they need to, kind of revamp that roster a little bit. But I mean, and I think they'll get it figured out. It's Houston Astros, man.
It's 7 straight American League Championship Series.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's a good time
crazy
to be a fan of all Texas teams. I mean, you got, CJ Stroud down there in Houston. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be fun to watch this year. And all, Cowboys are always interested. And Rangers. I mean, it's a good time. It's a good time to be
it is, yeah,
in Texas and a sports fan.
Yeah, like I said, Zeke's back with the Cowboys now. So Zeke Elliott too as well. And like I said, it just has some good pieces there. This is the year McCarthy can put it together. They're always interesting, or at least have an interesting story to tell or interesting to watch. And of course, like you said, Houston taking the step this year, 11-7 with a rookie quarterback. I mean, it's going to be fun. D'Amico Ryans and that whole group there, Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator. It's going to be a fun year for the Texans. And just like you said, the Rangers, Houston, good time to be a Texas sports fan. And hell, you look at the Dallas Mavericks win tonight. They're in the NBA Finals.
Oh yeah, I knew I was forgetting one. I watched that game the other night. That was wild.
They lost it by 5, and tonight they got to play. I think it's on the road. Minnesota's got the home game, but I expect Dallas to finish it tonight. The way Kyrie Irving and of course Luka Doncic have been playing, it's been pretty amazing to see that too as well. And I mean, Jason Kidd's done a great job with that Mavericks franchise. It was kind of like Rick Carlisle before he went to Indiana, but Rick kind of paved the way, and Kidd took over as head coach, and they've had a couple of guys go in and out. But I think Jason Kidd, the way he's running it too, I'm kind of more of a Rockets fan, but you follow all the Texas teams that do it. Spurs are rebuilding, so Rockets just had the most wins they've had, near 500 this year. So the next few years, man, for sports teams in Texas, it's going to be fun to watch out there too. Hey, let me ask you this: when you guys have gone to Nashville, made that trip, the Jonesy Music Awards, which I can't wait to be back there in October this year, being a nominee myself and getting to eat at some places. And next week, finally got my hot chicken on at Hattie B's on Broadway. Yeah. And so now I've got to look out for like the Prince's, the OG, or some other good restaurants to eat. A lot of people have made some good recommendations over the past few weeks, but I'm hoping that, we can actually – what's your favorite place to eat or places to eat in Nashville when you get to travel?
I've only been there once, and it was last year, and I only got to spend I only had one night because the first night we were there, we were at the award show. and we flew in from West Texas that day because we had a show the night before. So so the one night I did get to go eat, I was so tired. We were on Broadway there, and I just ate at Kid Rock's place, and the food was fantastic there. It was great. Atmosphere was great. You know, drinks are cold, and food was really good. And I walked up and down there a little bit. I didn't get to see as much as I wanted to because we were just rushed to get over there and get back. But yeah, I've got to go back, and because anywhere I travel, I love to eat. That's one of the main things I want to do if I'm going to travel is like where are we going to eat, and so I've got to get back over there and spread my wings a little bit on the food situation there in Nashville. But that's really all I can tell you is I know that the Kid Rock bar had a pretty good spread.
I'll give it a whirl. Like I said, one of those nights.
You'll have to tell me where to go eat next time I get.
Well, we did the Hattie B's hot chicken. There was another one that was called Party Foul, which is pretty good there that some people like. And then of course the other one was Prince's. They say the OG place. That's Prince's hot chicken, which was I guess the first or one of the OG places there to do it. I guess before Hattie B's, and there was some other, just so many great. It's becoming like I say tourist town too, but everything else. But Broadway is just busy, and this is going to be my first CMA Fest, and it's going to be a blur coming up there.
You're going to have a blast, man. That's going to be super cool to get to see all that and take it all in, and have the time to do it too. So that's cool.
Yeah, a little bit of work, a little bit of play, and like I said, yeah, it's tough. Somebody's got to go to Nissan Stadium and catch a show, and then to the amphitheater, catch another show there during the off hours. So yeah, somebody's got to work. And
like you said, somebody's got to do it.
Work hard, play hard. Well, if I was in the vicinity, I will be in the area too, but still a couple hours away. San Antonio, Texas this weekend. If you're there, get on up there to Fredericksburg. It's only like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive out there. Go west, man. And what Toby Keith used to say, go west, young man. And there you go. Like I said, it's a good time to enjoy it. Saturday night, Full Circle Moments, LLC.com for tickets. It's Jody Dominguez and the Stateline Band. Mo Bandy, Wade Hayes, the summer concert series kicks off coming up this Saturday night, June 1st. Again, all the ticket information and posters are out there. Full Circle Moments, LLC.com. Check out the socials, and great night of country music. And, of course, get those tickets. Doors at 6:30. Show begins at 7:30. The Crockett House Beer Garden there in beautiful wine country of Fredericksburg, Texas out there too. Man, appreciate you always being on, and looking forward to some more songs being released this year. As soon as they are, we'll get you back on. And my friend, always great to chat here on the program.
Brandon, appreciate you, man. Always good to talk to you. Hopefully see you before too long. Enjoy Nashville, man. That's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully I get to come down there and we'll try some of that whiskey out, that Bangtail whiskey.
We got to try some Bangtail whiskey. No doubt about it too out there. Again, Jody Dominguez of the Stateline Band. Get your tickets, Full Circle Moments, LLC.com. And Google that out there. Give them a like on socials. Check out the poster, the summer concert series with Jody, Mo Bandy, and, of course, Wade Hayes coming up this Saturday night, Fredericksburg, Texas. It all goes down at Crockett House Beer Garden right there on the Strip. And make sure you guys get a glass of wine and beer and come see your friends out there if you're in the vicinity and get those tickets, which they are going fast out there too. Great venue, and great times and fun for the entire family out there too as well. Again, thanks to our sponsors. We'll see you guys back here in about, I guess an hour. Struggle Jennings coming on the program. We'll talk about his new album, El Camino, which comes out tomorrow, May 31st, for new music release Friday. And, of course, coming up next week, no shows until we get to CMA Fest. And then we have, you like 80s country? Sylvia's coming by the week of June 10th. That's going to be fun to talk to Sylvia, which she had a big hit back in the day called Nobody. If you don't know that song, then I guess you got to tune in to find out more here on the Backstage Pass. Again, KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at HighTideCountry.net, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com. We'll see you about 5 o'clock today with Struggle Jennings here on the Backstage Pass. Until then, God bless. Take care. We'll see you soon.